printed and are ready for tonight.
다 캬즈기 시바나 신신이 된다 포스터 파르게 상마차니 아니 도공 체도 타리레도 왔.
As a reminder, the Gaoman Science Center event is in the temple from 7 to 9 p.m.
다 텐소기 체도 아니 도공 고망라 바게 카르소레 제림제로아디 추즈 dim바네 구바체 엔 바게 고한주 소가날 레샤스.
The talks, among other people, feature our wonderful Sandula.
안디 땀세 칭에 나론직 데 준주 요레스.
And then there'll be a poster session at the end. We'll make sure that your posters get there. And we would definitely like at least one member of each group, and hopefully all of you, to be there to present your poster.
아니 캬즈기 단다 포스터디 파게라 게야다도 상만나야체 아니 게라콘즈기 레발라 아니 뇽탈라 켄즈 루가레 미레레 중난이 창마페네 야고도스 라 아니 파게 단다디 심주 데셰낭엘라 요 카르소레 요나 야고도스.
Okay, so Robin and I have decided that Zotero seems like a great tool, and so we're going to just keep moving forward through it to get you to the point where you can see how you can use it for citations.
gen Robin la Kurani기 tanda Zotero di ta kyansula pechu chenbu yongegi ani nyinche chik tonggu dosra andi imba sunza nga zu tos chidi mutuni digan dugin yes ani lakbar do ani Zotero nanglo la ra jezom khachebe thone ani kyanzu susu jezom nanglo la zu khung thangdan di khandes tangyu me di kor de shugin yes.
So I'm going to show you a few more things that'll be really helpful in terms of making sure that our library has the most information possible.
다 단다디 카르소레 이제 벤제 라고라 디 낭로 라스 아니 단니 주 차상보 가주 차상서 용해야기 아니 체도 아니 가주 제거에 카시징에 모두 쇼기스.
Everything that I'm going to show you, Mike, is on a Mac, and I will be using Google Chrome.
You'll be using Google Chrome? 아니 게라기 탄다 카리템 바디 차사 아니 Mac 로글레 강라 아니 낭단 디레스 아니 게라 코란 페주체기 브라우저 디 아니 Google Chrome is.
But the PC version of the app and then other browsers are pretty similar.
다 탄다 PC기 로글레 두조 다 아니야 브라우저 셴바딘데 페주 당기요나 두조 페주 찍바다 브레스.
Okay, so before tea, we left off by looking on how to add a PDF and get the information about a scientific article into the app.
당기 다 소자 마트응을 라가주기 익차 아니 조테 파게 인제 나로라 칸데스 야구기에메다 니주추 칸데스 땡고기메 디코드 슈버와스.
If you can add the PDF you can add a PDF using the app by dragging it on, or you can add a PDF in the browser by dragging it just like we did before, or pressing the plus sign and uploading a file.
저다 단다디 타게랑 페주체네 단다 년체디 많이 버지 타게랑 페주체바 이나 디나로라 익자 샤투레스 샤단디 니요레 찍디 당기 익자 카리나디 담네 추텐야디라 아니바디 파게 domda치도 dom다디 갈네네 아니 마도 아니 디 카르서 익차야 아니 샤세 디 업로드 파일 디 갈네 거레스.
When you do that, however, you will just see the attachment of the PDF and you won't see all the information for the article.
딘데치네야 이제 샤바이나 익자 디다 파게 캬 카체투 그레스 파게 요르데 이나야 디기네 추디 아니 데라 링마레스 익자단 데베네 추디.
So there's a couple ways to solve this. I'm going to show you the easy way first.
디 셋탑 디 카시지 요베 나로네 레라슈디 슈긴스.
If we go to the app in group 1, this is that same PDF, and we don't have any information here about the authors and title.
다디 파게 타기야게 토네 죽사베 젤라 다 앱 카체바이나 익자디 카체 투그레스 익자디 카체와 이나 데라 네주디 테기멘도아스
And so sometimes you can click, and there's a thing that says retrieve metadata.
더디 간 얘기 예탭디 냄네로와 아니 기공 사와 카치기도 디나로는 마도바 이나 아니 retrieve metadata 세치도 디 카브레 디가네 렌투그레스
You have to have an internet connection to get any of this information in.
더 네주츠 렌야디 코 타자 코랑 간 렌기 여버 순자 타기의 투가디 고고레스
Ta-da! So it changed it from just having the PDF attached, so now we see all this information on the article.
더더 어디 제윤디 이 코랑기 타자니 네주츠네 네주디 데라 쭉버봐 지자 단기 PDF 장바레스 더단다 익자다 아니 네주니가 아니 여바 차버레스
Local, remote, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same. I don't really care. Okay. Okay, so if this information does not come up, there are a couple of other ways to do it, but I will point out that all of this can be edited to make sure that our library has as much information as possible.
더든데 제네 키시 네주디 마라와이나 아니 디 네주 주게 제투에 요레스 직내 단다 콘조게 네주 렌샤버드 정아주 유주 땅투그레스 유주
Now, while you were at T, Sandula and Robin and I were talking about it would be really helpful in some cases to also have Buddhist texts in here.
단다 남아주 세제 최외 갑데라 아니 견랑아주 숨 되도 총송 산디나로라 야디 낭베기 다 공도 익자든데 여바이나 펜도 전부 여사레스라니
So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new collection or folder in our library.
that digi that genla khorangi thanda ETSI research nanglola ani ignore sabachi ani gozugi is khachegi is
And I'm going to call it Buddhist texts.
dila da nangbegi ani kharsure shung lane da ichas lane tik lagi is
So it's very likely if you add, let's say you have a PDF of a book or a chapter or some form of Buddhist text, that it's not actually going to give you that information, but it will store the PDF for you.
that the shung di Quran PDF na yoba ina ro shung chaza ine da ya dinalo tsembachi ine da dizo PDF di dinal sha tu gres yimba ina digi ni chu di dena lig mares
I don't know, somebody just put something in there already. You're very fast. Let's see. One thing I'll show you is if this still doesn't look red, oh, now it's gone. I don't know what you did. If that's not looking red, then it may be syncing, but eventually you can open the PDF.
ta dangi di chigi sha so andi sha ni phagi dan remo khar shugu gi remo da ma bu di cha gorwa di ma cha wa di chi chena ko sha ya tu zo gor di gore di ingires
So let's say that you have a book, you know that you want to cite it in your article or in your writing, but you don't have a PDF, we can still add that information to our collection.
without PDF you
Yes, we can make, what would I call it?
a text file
We can make an entry into our library, a little spot for it, even if we don't have the actual PDF.
ala da susu jezum nanglola ani da nangbe shungjik da phage khongdu ijana shagu gi na yoba che ani digi PDF menarwa meba ine kyo mare ani che khongdu ija di kharso zotero nangne ani suetugu rest da dinalola tep korada yo marde tep gi ani khajanda chomboboda duju ani dinal shatugu rest
So there's this little symbol here that looks like a piece of paper, and when I click on it, we can add an entry for anything, a website, a letter, a book, a document, etc.
다 디낭로라 이네 같이면 간데라 니 슈구스러지 파르 춘지스도아 디게 타기 다딜 nem바이나 아니 다 디날 톱 링부지도아 제자 아니 가리 공도 지기연아야 대비네다 리모더이네 타갸이네 가리네 디날로 아니 이기로지 땅에 딘디지네 디상만 담이야 요레스.
So I'm going to go ahead and pick a book, and you can see automatically I can start to add the title of the book and the author of the book.
딘데 딱 연락 거라 담바점기 람산 디카체네 엔디나로라 탭기 카찬 티사다 아니 좀법의 명 티사다 차산지 된것도 왔어.
I assume that you cannot put Tibetan text in here, but I'm actually not sure. Somebody's going to just need to try.
디나로라 비 익수디 예매하고 마순선 그냥 쳐다나나 디그레스.
But in your research manuscripts, it would probably be helpful to have the English translation of a text anyway. So I'm going to ask Sandhu for the name of some text that you might want to cite.
Bodhicharya Avatara. Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. SATTVA, Sattva's Way of Life. 진짜 디 베나 다 칸주기 심주 제좀 나로라 다 비팅 마로 민디 다 인지 구글 와스 진짜 다 배차 매바이나 베나 디 배차기 삽하게 되어도디 니주 샤사데라 대비 가자한테
And what would be the appropriate first and last name?
Just Shanti Deva, I think.
I'm going to need some help with spelling.
NTI DEVA. Yeah.
Okay, so now you can see that we have this book here, and then I'll show you how you would cite it in your manuscript in just a moment.
다디 탭디기 다 니수도디 단다 조테로 간 요로아 안디 페주체네 안에 소소 제좀 나로라 공도 익자스 칸데 수게메 디뚱기 인스캔라.
Now, I added this without actually adding the text, but let's say Sandhu's like, oh, I have a PDF of that I could share with everybody.
다 양라 코란라 다디 탭디 메바 손자 아니 디 카르소레 니주 주고 샤르와 아니 캬안주 낭로네 찍라다 PDF 디 요네 디나 PDF 여바이나.
If you look down here, you can actually add an attachment, and you can go find the file, and we could attach a file to this entry.
다디 익자지로아 오네 코란디 데라 펩네 attachment 라이델 펩 아니 파일 디 담바이나 아니 야 자르초그레스텔라.
And all of that, in terms of creating an entry, that manual way, works in the web browser as well.
다디 단다 제야디다 ngazu app 날 치고라 이네 찍버지기한 파조 아니 타야가 레체 두그레스 셰요레스.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit about the Zotero connector, which you should have downloaded and installed in your browser.
딱 연락이 Zotero connector 디 아니 콜 슈에인스 아니 넘버 상매기 수수 로글레가라 디 파블레 난구그레 난이브레바이스.
The Zotero connector is going to help with citations in Google Docs.
딱 Zotero connector 라니 투제지라 디기 아니 Google Doc 나로라 이니 익자여바디 낭로라다 파니네 네수수 레야라 아니 체토그레스.
It is also going to be helpful if you find a paper that you can't find the PDF of. I'll show you how to make a nice entry for it, and then you can email one of us the title and say, hey, this is in the library, but I need the PDF, and we'll see if we can get it through Emory or Northwestern Access.
다 계시 캬안수기 다 심지 제좀직로아 아니 카르소레 심주기 제좀직 다 파게 아니 롱탕구기 연나스 아니 디기 익자든 얘기면나 디낭로 랑게라 카찬디 민디스로아 아니 게나 콘술 제와체바이나 게나 콘술기 익자야 자리아디 콘술기 체토그레스.
So let's say that you really are interested in reward systems and you want the PDF for this article. You have not been able to find it online.
다 벤차샤바 이나 캬안주기 심주디 아니 레게 말라단 데와 여바체 아니 나버수기 심주 제좀 제로아디 아니 카르수르 구구여나 아니 최네 자기가 최네 많이베 참수
I can't make this any bigger, but in Google Chrome, this little thing that looks like a puzzle piece gives you access to the extensions.
디 구글 크롬 기 낭로라 근데 여기 투시도 지도아 디기 더 extension 라나 바 카르소랑 아주 가게 라고래 더 extension 기 강의 여바딜라 튜투고 레스트니네
And if you use Edge or Firefox or any other or Safari, they all have something similar, and we can help you figure out what it is.
the browsers the loga page chenge Safari da ani Firefox da the page chenge imba ina console the extension gi the yores the page che dan the gyan la khran ju gi ani kyan ju long to che chog res.
So I've installed the connector, and so I see it listed here under extensions.
The gyan la gi the Zotero connector the public che ba sun za the de la dua extension nang lo dua.
And to make my life easier, I can click on this thing that says pin.
Tadi chue nye de wu yong agi chedo ani pin lai di gal nemba ina ko yage de digres.
And now it added this little thing that I think looks like a little piece of paper.
Tadi nemba sunza ani ko thanda de la shugu gi remus ro chdo on di sharli gres.
This one, that one right there.
Pagi dres.
Okay, so I have this. We can see lots of information about this paper, but I would have to buy it, and I am not going to buy it.
Zada tanda dina lo la ani zomsho dan dewe ne chui mangu shiu shidwa ina ya zomsho khora chasanji lo togu mendo di lo ya le nyo korwa ani nyonde meba ina.
If I hover over this little piece of paper, it says in English, "Save to Zotero."
Da digan la da dikini dos pazu yugjo narwa ani yigi je sharge do da Zotero na lo la nyar slide.
And this usually it can't necessarily be somebody's personal website. It will need to be a journal or PubMed, which I showed you before, something where all the information is there.
Da danda di karsure tagya peju tanya dia toda susugi tagya ro denzu yungmares ra da ko journal dende tudeb gi tagya da ya tangi PubMed lai chdo adi gi tagya la bu dende ina ya ko zu di chetugres.
So if I click on this little thing pops up. This is not a Buddhist text, so I'm going to save this to human health. Yeah.
So that the gal nembe kapsus ani korangi the nechu di khawala nyar go resla ne the igne dam da tyen go da an di nang lo ne igne khagi dewa na di dam.
And if you look here, I have tons of folders, right? So I just need to pick one. I also have, if it was related to bees, I could pick bees.
The any sur the nemba ina ani igne khang ba changma chik shalik da di nang lo ne ya human health nang lo la ani igne khagi dewa me di ani damya res.
And then when I select done and go back, you can see it here.
Tene pagela that is how a chess lan in nemba ina and tene Zotero khran nang lo la di ani nezu di le res.
Now at this point, so we're going to show you how to add citations to your paper. You have all the information you need to use this as a reference in your paper.
Da tanda digi khariche bares la ina chezom digi nezu di chazan shik su Zotero na lemba res lemba sunza kyan zu gi susu chezom gi nang lo la da khongdu gi yigja di ma thang backup suswa ani goya gi nezu changma de la lecture bares.
But you don't have the PDF, and that's when you could copy this title and email it to one of us, and we can add the PDF here.
Da ine tanda de la ko yigja khorang su yo marwa di me di ani di khajang di chu shu ani gyan la khonzu la ta ne di nga zu gugu do slava ina an khonzu gi lu tu res.
And let's say that you see something in our shared library that you're like, oh, I have that PDF. You can always attach it.
다 되네 다 간족이 디나로라 디 익자디 파게 여바지 하고와 있나 라 익자디 수수기 단다디 가장디갈 잘 초그레스
The other thing I'll show you is that we are now all librarians.
다 아주 상마다 벤조 도담바 나신 레스다
So if you notice sort of duplicates in there that we don't need, go ahead and make sure that you remove one so that we keep our library organized.
다 계시로와 디나로라 익자니 직부지간 니레데요나스 다 ngaranzu 벤조 도담바 임바체 아니 임바 송자 벤조 디코 고직부 샤야게 체도 직디 마트연산 디그레스
Which at the moment I cannot do.
That means you're not true librarian.
I have so much to learn.
Just kidding.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to add citations to your research articles.
다 단다 카르소레 수수제 좀 나로라 아니 네츠두즈 칸데스 샤고메 디뚱기스
And give me 1 second because I'm going to need power. Okay, so let me go ahead and open up an example document in Google Docs.
다 구글기 파게 이자 요사디 나로라스 아니 아주 배추기 이자지 카치기 인스
Okay, so this is an example of one of the research manuscripts that we added some things to a couple days ago.
다디 아주 다 배추 직체 디나로 네즈 카시 니마 지니 중요라 루바 인스 샤바 인스
I'll go ahead and say, in most journals, you will not be adding citations to your abstract.
다디 today 망체 나로라 라 단다 공도 익자 샤사죠라디 튼두날리 마레스 튼두날디 체팅 마레스
And that's because your abstract is a summary, and so all of that information is somewhere else. So the relative background science is going to have a citation somewhere else.
제가 딱디 인고에 카레슬라바이나 튼두디 나로 튼다 닝부추 랭게요라 아니디 차시 셴바촌에 튼다 추 랭샤바 인자 안디 나로라 베나 니주지요나 니주디 아니 콩도사 디 인슬라니 디 데갈라 자르고 마레스 샤고 마레스
Okay. And then we have next is the introduction.
데네 쳔바 옥마디 ngojogi 쳔바디체
And let's say we started outline in our introduction, and now we're going to want to we can add citations to the outline, or we would have written full paragraphs, and now we want to add citations.
다 ngojogi nanglola 다 갑종기 네츠다 드테기로아 디테디 다 콩두사지 고고여와스 안디 인디 다 아주 콩두기 익자디 파게 카르소레 조르와이나
And actually in this outline, it says meditation practices have been shown to reduce many mental and physical afflictions, including depression, anxiety, and inflammation.
다 ngojogi 익자나로 다 베나 츠루 고주에디 아니 곰기 냠랭기스 라 아니 류다 셈기다 나사스오레 강에 아니 베나 이모다 강섭다 아니 가서 년세 개바 아두즈 망부지라 뇽도 당기요레슬라니 티요라
And let's say that we've already added a paper about meditation reducing depression into Zotero.
다 디나로라다 곰기 냠랭기 이모라 이모 충도 당기도슬라니 제 꼬여요라 아니 조테로 나로라 nga주기 딘데기 제좀 집하게 룩사베 왕도 따나스
And so I'm going to add a citation in this sentence right after, actually, I don't want to confuse you, right at the end.
다 니인디다 겐라기 단다디 식루브제라 식루기 타마델라 라 아니 콩두 디 카와 콩두에메 콩두 이자디 아니 데가 루기야 인스
And once your Zotero connector is fully set up, magically, you now see sort of where it says File, Edit, View, Insert, the things that you're used to, something that says Zotero.
디 조테로 카르소레 야 루차와체 조테로 투가다 상마 체차와이나 파게 구글 드록에 간델라 조테로 라지 샤르기레스
If I click on this, let me try to make it bigger. Hold on. View. there's the magic Zotero button, and I can add a citation.
아니 네가 nembaina 당보 고란데라 아니 카르소레 citation add edit citation 나이도와.
All right, so again, I need to have my cursor here, and then we're going to add a citation right there.
테네 당보니라 아니 가서 카르소레 지지다르고 데레샤 안테네 조테로기 citation add 체 라바이나스.
Hold on, I got to make sure. If you, to continue to use another account. I don't remember my email for Zotero, so give me a moment. Okay, it seems like it wants to work. And then the first thing that pops up often is something that says citation style.
따디 제 인도로와 따디 코 디나로 공도지 내주 쭉스 라버와 라비온디 아니 수수기 디 아카운트 투여나다 안디 샤르리레스 안디나로라 이간데라 공도 내주 디 아니 가서 티당 칸디스 티긴 바슬라니 citation style 라이도와 디체는 티당 망부지요레스.
And this is in your sort of manuscript template, but we've chosen the American Psychological Association 7th edition style.
파게라 심주 락데브 나로라 디 코디 예스라 타이네 ngazugi damion di zamra style mangbu da ko neju ko da mangbu ko thap lagore ko da mangbu yebe nalone American Psychological Association like the APA digi ani dodan shisun che dia ani ko theorim dumba di shisun di chigi yores.
I'm going to hit OK. It's updating, and now I get this little thing.
Da dene di sharligidwa.
Okay, so now I want to add a paper, and let's say I happen to know that the author's first name is, or last name is Mascaro. I can start typing in Jenny's last name, and I see papers that have her name in it.
따디 파게디 카르소레 제좀기 니츠디 샤야라스 따 최야디 최담이라도 직데라 좀보보 호랑기 아니 밍타마제로아 어디네네 신기요나 코디 밍디 쭉바이나스 아니 묘기 밍다 데와이베 제좀 상무수 샤르리그레스.
Here you can also start typing in the title of the article, one of the authors, and you'll see things that it thinks that you want to add here.
디 파데난 루야기 네츠시로아 디단 데베 좀바버기 밍니 츠네 디그레 야좀 코랑기 밍니 츠네 디그레 디 츠다문다 요레스.
So let's say that this is the article I want. I'm actually going to choose the version that's in the ETSI research, and I click on it.
따디나니 제좀 크기나 디담.
And oftentimes at the end of a sentence, you'll see multiple citations. So let's say that Robin wrote a paper on this topic, and we want to cite that as well.
Gabrielwa that tenda chikla ani khungdu chesa mangbu yochogres ani pena dinalola again Robin lagi chesom jitiyo na korangi mingdi tina.
And so I typed in his last name, found articles related to it, and it's this one that I want to cite.
Dine ta chesom nanglola deyo kagi na ditsu dam.
And then I usually press enter. I think you can press this arrow.
Tadi enter number in a pagi dadi nemna digores.
And then now you see magically at the end of our sentence are these citations.
Tadi chendi any number da or tsigdu digi tamadela any di kawane kungtube any kungtusagi nitsudi any sharligidoas.
What's really great about this is doing this manually gets very, very challenging very fast.
Di susungso gyabgo na di gyab karsure nyokto saburo jores.
So, for example, while Robin was here, he wrote a very long review article which can have hundreds of citations in it.
Pena de la yebe kaus Robin gi gen Robin lagi chesom jitiba ina din nanglo la kungtu gi ta igje nesu pet kungtu sarwa jatha ge wa yochogres.
So it's really nice to just be able to cite this way. You could click on this, you can edit, and you can now change and say, Robin Nesslock, he doesn't know what he's doing. We're going to remove that one.
제가 대 공도 이자디 디 교와 당초죠 레스라 단다디 예탭 님 디갈 네바이나 아니 단다 디 추샤리 용고도와 당이 미니 담요라 디난 제좀 찍디다 디 데와 차금인도스나 코파 수베 요레스.
If I hit return, it updates, and you can see that it's now removed that citation.
On the Nichebainani, Tandadi Karsura Shembadi Tunswa, that Nizu Shembadi Tatu rest.
All right, so if we scroll down here, we have all of these sections, including this example of what your references should look like, but we don't actually have a reference section that has the Mascaro paper in it.
That and the Kundu Ija Tisachura, Dinalola, the Kundu Ija Kajik Tidwa, in the Mascaro Gija di Mevaina.
So now we go back to Zotero, and you're probably only going to have to do this once, and you're going to edit the bibliography.
Ani di chebe dinero Zotero done, any edit bibliography like the Damgores.
And a bibliography is just a different name for that list of references that are at the end of a paper.
Di any Karsura Somshogi Tamatama de la, any Karsure Nazo Kundu Ija Chasan Shasagi Dinaro da Dirwa, Chizan Nichikbares in a Ming Tada Logajitariores.
Okay, so I'm going to click on this. Ta-da! Now it put the reference at the very end.
Dine that Karsure Ma. The 익자디 니주 차상 얘기하려나 좀보 조디 민마도 민다 아니 빠진 첼로니마도 되기면도 니주 디체 또 어디라 아니 익자기 차상기 민디 니주디 안탄다 비블리오그래피 라이디 nem바이나 아니 차상기 민디 리기레스 니주 차상보디.
For any given manuscript, you probably only have to add the bibliography once.
Karsure today manche nanglola di nichuchira de lungdi charni sum khasu thangba inaya de nichute ko edi charchik madu te ko king mares.
So let's say somewhere in our methods section, we say something like, following the methods of Nusslock et al., we used EEG to measure brain activity.
That did not be Robin Nusslock, Korangi, any Pejuche, any Tablam di, any Azu, Pejuche Nes, and Dinalola, any EEG, Tendeji Tangdo Jeba Islani, Yobaina.
While the main section of your manuscript that will have references will be the introduction, there may be a good reason to have some references in your method section or your discussion.
지난데 공도 제사 기 가서래 공도사 디 망쉐직 모더나 레용고레스 망체지 다 임바이나야 가브레 아니 파게 심주기 chargo에저라 chargo에 낭로라야 아니 공도 고사딘데 용촉으로 봤.
So a really good example was group 3 might have a sentence very similar to this, saying like, building off of methods developed in Poller et al. And the sort of first lucid dreaming study would be sort of at the beginning of their methods.
that pena ruga sumbe기 다 심주제 좀 낭로라 페제딘데 더지 연구레스라 ko takji chargoedi ma tibe kapsu ani gempan ken balo koranzu gi nangshebe ani tablamdi ani shisongi islani odinde ji lebaina ta dela ani khongdu gi nechu di shagurwa.
And so now I need to add another citation for this sentence.
that sigru dela ta khongdu gi nechu di chuya gi chedo citation ji nem go gures.
I found it, and it added it, and then we'll go down to the bottom.
So the way you do it, right after you cite it, you go to the reference?
You don't have to go down to the references. I just want to show you that it has been added automatically.
제가 더 견라기 파게디 내주디 루와 내주디 루사디 마 워델라 다다 공도 이자기 내주 차상 요소델라 코란 랑싱기 루용 그레스.
And the way this works is anytime you put in a citation, let me go back to the top. there's actually a code there that says, hey, this is what information you need to grab.
So the first time you did it, right, that you added the citation, you go to bibliography and add it, and then after that you don't have to.
You do not have to add a bibliography again. It now knows like, oh, anytime you add a citation, I should add this to the bibliography.
Ale thanking gi da the Juria the district ta da demindo gyala gi soya di thangbo ta di nechui de la shagarwa kongdu igja gi nechui di pena mascaro dan da jezom de ra ningji komda gi jezom di de lu rwa di lu chawe thangbo lu chawe jelas ani magwola ani reference yana bibliography lan wo ji chemba chi dwa kongdu igja shasa de la do ani add bibliography like the name ni ani ikcha kharim badigi ming china ko ne ju chasa magwolo lugo dwa di jailer da ani citation khari lug baina mage bibliography di lugo mare khona ransing lu du res.
This is using Google Docs, but if you write in Microsoft Word, for example, you can install a plugin that does the same thing.
Ta thanda di ina Google ki ikcha digala chigorwa ta yana ta di mai ba chene pena namgyu nga zu gi word document chura di khoranga la che ina somsho thesa di degal chigi na ya digale ya kya plugin chi lu gu res zotero ga chi.
And it looks very similar. So I have a Zotero tab, I can add a citation, and I can add a bibliography.
On the plugin the lusa we jela ani thangi na shin Zotero yage thungu dwa ani Zotero damba ina ani citation lugya da bibliography lugya du ani thepshon du tön ligres.
Let's see what else I want to tell you. If you, let's say you delete this sentence, but you might still see the Mascaro article at the bottom in your references.
The coverage wa the T wa magwala kundu ija nesu sangma shatsa we jela and the chazan sub that the sikru the goe mindoslan subia the yungures and this suba in a wogi nesu di tandul ha digres.
So a final really useful thing to see is that if you hit refresh, it'll go sort of search through from top to bottom and see, oh, the Mascaro article is not cited there anymore. I don't see that code for it. And then it'll remove it from the bibliography.
Oh, the chungwe kapsu ani Zotero done refresh like the number ina and the Korangi ninja digi ija chazan anglola ani Mascaro like this the long the tangdu mindu tani ani tang mena and magwo ni tön shagres nizudi.
Okay, so what we should be able to do, hopefully, by lunchtime, is get to the point where everybody has Zotero set up. If you have a PC, you have you've downloaded the desktop app, or if you have a laptop, you've downloaded a desktop app, and you see the ETSI research folder.
That azu ningu khala ma tre phardu nabas sangme gi ta nang char goya chi khares la baina thangbo de la ani Zotero gi the app the ma phablen che di che.
You should be able to just open up a practice Google document, add just some fake sentences, and try to add a citation to it.
Tene da kyanzu Google Doc chi khache rwa ani kachene and dinalola that nizu des sha ani citation de luya de ani chota nangroches.
And actually, a skill to practice is to go all the way from searching for an article to finding the PDF or the reference, putting it into our library, and then adding it as a citation.
Da gyala kyanzu gi da rab chungba inas thangbo gochu de jezom thangbo ngela chhe rwa goya ji jezom ji chhe and di ni Zotero na sha rwa PDF yona PDF sha ya da ani PDF mena koran jezom gi ni chu di denal sha ani sha tha we jela ani Google di khache ne ani di lung thang ya di nangro ches chasanch.
So let's say I go to Google Scholar and I want to find a paper about fasting.
Da bencha shaba ina rwa ani seje rwa ko gongje ko la ani jezom ji che gu yonas ani Google Scholar di khache and dinalo la 아니 가서 세제 제배라고 그래 공제 제배 슈겐슬라니 티니 티바이나
I see lots of different papers.
따디나로라 제좀 망부도 왔습니다.
I'm going to try right now just to select just recent papers. And then you start searching, and Robin and I just want to highlight that you really want to think about the quality of the paper, maybe before you ever take the effort to add it to our library.
네 세윤디 점을 제좀 망부 튕기도 와. 아니 따디나로 제좀디 조테로 파게 아주 벤조 나로라 마중을라스 녜라 아니 좀기 비세도디 가져래샤 좀기 채식하래도디 비세 간제 토부견야 루로 제스다.
One thing that will in part sort of suggest the quality is that the title of the journal may sound very familiar once you get more experience. You'll start to see that a lot of people or more people are citing the paper, which suggests that lots of other scientists agree that this is science worth building upon.
딱 비세 다야처럼 직디로 아니 코란 뒤대 가와라 튼샤 안 뒤대디 용라 첨부 영역이 뒤대 레드레면도 다야 직체 아니버디 디제좀디 미카주기 롱탕샤로 디 탕갈라 파게 cited by 란도아 온 디니니 아니 때바이나 안고 미망로기 딜라 찬진치기버디 아주 하고 그랬어.
I also have a resource that will be helpful for you that I need to find, but there are some websites that librarians have gone through and said, you know, Springer is a publisher that really maintains good quality, good peer review. We sort of put them on the good publisher list, and these articles probably have been peer reviewed.
데네야 카직라 데베나 벤조 소속이스 Today, Mangu Yubanalone, today, doing it and the Springer, the Chashawaina, that's Hendenchil, Muzi Ched in the Yungores, that Duzunalola, any Chesum Jitumbaina, Mazugi Chansi Chogores.
Librarians are also increasingly spending an enormous amount of time and energy to help our field by making lists of journals that they think have questionable practices where things are not being peer reviewed, and we'll try to get you access to that list as well.
단다 벤즈 도담바 세우라던데 망부지기로와 더 심주징에서라 아니 로바체기 체도 아니 콘수기 카소레 더 찬지 미페르에 제좀 제다 뒤대비어와 딘데 콘수기 토토스요레스라 안도저 제라칸줄라 아니 퓨기스 퓨초그레스.
So let's say that this is an article that we wanted. Make this go away. In this case, you may be able to download the PDF. I would download it to your computer. I would then add it via the app on your computer, and then you should see all of this information get populated.
따뜻한데 디 제좀더부터 차샤와이나 다 PDF 기 아니 ngola ma publish che tu고도 디 무슨 정말 수수기 로레가라 마 publish che 안테네네 app di position에 야 룩바이나 로앙아주기 디나 룩바이나 아니 니주 샤산지 코 카르수레 숭투그레스.
So I've just saved it on my computer, and then I can sort of download it in, and I would put it probably in this case in the group 1 folder, but may be also in the human health folder, so people who are just interested in human health would find it as well.
Tadi public chesawa sunzans ani phagi ignena luye che andi chida ruga sumbada ani dewa chagiyena ruga sumbagi ignena lasha di samdo masero jione quran trading da dewa yoba india trading gi ignena le ani shabaina ya shimba soge talo che turbas.
Okay, then the final thing I'll say before we have you all practice is, you know, in practicing, we don't want to do the same thing 32,000 times. So make sure that you're all sort of adding different PDFs if possible.
아니 뜻하마데 슈에 찍데 what do you mean by 32,000 times?
So
choosing the same
yeah,
time?
so our library, we only need one copy of everything. We don't want, everybody in group 3 to add the same PDF because you will end up with lots of copies.
Ale, tadi ya ikja lu du rwa, ani ngwe la shemba ki lu yeme di sina ya wo res rwa, ani kyan changme ki ikja jikba lu wa ina, ani ikja jikba jik ta phem chimbo jidina le yung rwa. O dinde ma yung ek che do, ani ta jik ikja tsar re lu go ma do, ani mangbu lu ku ma res.
And then if you are still not in your app seeing this ETSI research folder, we can help you show how to sync between what's in the web and what is in your app. And we'll just show you that individually.
Ta tanda di thagya kan la chikda ni chu chikda sia app nal ni chu chine yorwa ta di ni thuga di ja mena rwa ani kharsure thuga lagore sync chela di ko di kharsure ni chu di ani chandik do su thu mena rwa ani thagya ka le yebe ni chu da app nal yebe ni chu ni loga cha de rwa di imbasunza dinde yong wake up so kuni ni ani sync che ko rest and di chedan di kyala gi mere ngore la lamden nangi yins.
Yeah, so what we recommend is, as you sort of right now, is that just practice this, but this afternoon would be a great time to really start working on getting your introduction into your manuscript, using the text that you've already written, and then finding more citations and references, and now you have a place to store them, getting that organized, and that's really going to sort of move your writing process forward a lot. And if we do that while we're all still here, we can figure out some of the challenges that you might be having in terms of your browser and Google Docs and that kind of thing.
That handa de la kyanzu that is jongda nangirwa jongda na ani ningu gyabla ani tara mutu ni jongda na che ina ya ngoje chemba jikda susu jezomgi ngoje chemba di ani gozu ne ra ani ngoje chemba di phage neju thiya da andi nanglo la khungdu ija shaya andi nangwe kapso ya tanda jotero pheje da ne nangba ina ro ani jezomgi da tumzen keche jik chadugo ro odi nang tu rest.
Okay, just practice and then we'll help people solve problems.
Da kyanzu di laglen nangro na ani roba go na gen la khunzu ge nangi yins.